Hi, everyone. My name is Betty. We're going to get started in about 30 seconds as people are coming into the Zoom room. All right, I think that's the majority of people who are waiting. As people trickle in, I'll get us started here with a couple other reminders here. So welcome everyone. My name is Betty. I'm speaking on behalf of our Orientation and Transition Programs Office, and we want to welcome you to our Wednesday webinar series. This series are just about a few different topics, and they're designed to really help you prepare for your experience and arrival here at UVA. So you can tune in to the other topics we have going on over the summer. Be ready to read your emails, your UVA emails for each of the topics coming through. And you'll learn more about some of the resources and programs that are available before you come to grounds. So a couple other reminders unrelated to our series. If you're not in your new student portal, please be sure to check on that. You have a lot of deadlines coming up for that. Make sure you're staying on top of those tasks so that you are ready to come to summer orientation and are ready for the fall semester. You can also access the new student portal if you have any challenges there from our website, which is orientation.virginia.edu. Be sure you're checking your UVA email regularly. This is how we communicate with you as a university. If you have not set up your computing ID or are having challenges, please reach out either to the orientation office or to ITS. Please make sure you're checking for any ongoing messaging or changes to anything. And it is really important that you take ownership of your college experience coming into UVA. That being said, feel free to contact us for any questions you have at orientation@virginia.edu, and we'll get you connected to the offices and resources that you need. Couple other things. This webinar is being recorded, so if you miss any information, don't worry about it. It will be posted on our Wednesday webinar page, so you'll get some more information about that. And you'll find that in the next couple days posted as far as the recording goes. We'll use this time now for our presenters to present about the housing and residential experience here on grounds. So you'll hear from Countess Hughes and Shylon Scott from Housing and Residence Life, and they'll introduce themselves as well. Please use the last part of the presentation when they ask for questions to use the Q&A feature to submit your questions. Just listen to the presentation until then so we can hold some questions till the end there. So that's all I got from my end. So I'll have our housing and residence life staff take over. And they're here to help you get started with the live-in experience here on grounds.
Welcome to the residential experience and living on grounds at UVA. We are excited to tell you all about what it's like to live on grounds as a new UVA student. My name is Dr. Shylon Scott, and I am Associate Dean of Students and Director of Residence Life. I did my undergraduate work at UVA, and I'm really glad to be back on grounds. I'm approaching my third-year anniversary with Housing and Residence Life.
Hello, everyone. My name is Countess Hughes, and I'm the Associate Director of Housing Assignments. My staff and I put heads in beds. I graduated from UVA back in the way back. I got my master's here as well, and I've been back at UVA for about 11 and a half years.
In today's webinar, we will touch on various aspects of UVA housing and residence life and how we create the residential experience for our students. We will cover our department's mission, the residential experience, advice for parents, families, and students, how to reach us, and many other informative topics. Housing and Residence Life's mission is to work collaboratively to create open, welcoming communities on grounds for students at the University of Virginia. Residents are empowered to engage their potentials as scholars and leaders through self-governance and participation in activities and leadership programs. We have a team of professional staff located in Gibbons House, and we are here to provide support and assistance to all residential students. Residence Life professionals guide the resident staff program and are available for any students who have questions, aren't sure where else to go, or want advice on ways to get involved within their residential community. These are staff in our residential students. These are staff that residential students would see the most. We also have front desk, assignments, facilities, finance, summer conferences, IT and marketing, and communications staff that provide the background functions and make our residential programs successful. A primary goal of the residential experience is to allow students to live and learn together in their community. This will help prepare students to live and lead in a globally connected world, which is a key initiative in the university's strategic plan. The residential experience creates opportunities for every new student to receive the appropriate guidance and resources necessary for a successful transition to university life. Right from the beginning, living in the residence halls gives students a shared experience and an identity based on where they live. This identity creates lasting connection to the university, even after students graduate. A thriving residential community contributes to each student's sense of belonging at the university. Through interaction with their peers and resident staff, students should feel included, cared for, respected, and valued, particularly within their residence hall environment. The community where they live also serves as a foundation for students to connect with others, build relationships, and practice leadership skills and self-governance. All students living on grounds have a resident advisor. The resident advisor will be there to support them throughout the year. An RA is an older undergraduate student who lives alongside residents and serves as a resource to them throughout the year. The RA will either be on a student's hall, in their suite, or in a suite nearby. We have several signature programs that include the residential leadership experience, which are the various hall councils for students to help lead their community. Professors' picks, which is where various professors select a book, a movie, a podcast, or an article that groups of students discuss with the professor. And our last lecture series, which is where veteran faculty or deans share their wisdom with the university community as though it were their final lecture. Each first-year residential community also has the opportunity to gather together for dinner in the rotunda for a dome room dinner each year. Most first-year students in the College of Arts and Sciences are assigned an academic advisor based on where they live. Transfer students, student athletes, ECHL scholars, veterans, and visiting international students have dedicated advising deans. The academic advisor or academic staff in other schools provide academic guidance and advising until a student transitions into their major.
The residential experience, and let's talk about first years. All first year students are required to live on grounds and are guaranteed housing. Sorry. Incoming first year students are assigned to first year only areas, or students can apply for any of the 3 residential colleges. Note that the residential colleges stay open during winter break. Another thing to note is that the residential colleges have a separate application that can be found on the housing application in the housing portal. Within the first year only areas, students can opt into scholar communities if they are an Eccles or Rodman scholar, or opt into mixed gender housing on the housing application. Note that we are not able to accept preferences for hall style or suite style housing, or for a specific building or residence area. Housing in the first year only areas is assigned randomly. Before you have a residential experience, you need to make sure that you know the important application dates. The application is currently available, but you already know that, right? Some of you have already applied. I love that. The deadline is June 1st at 11:59 p.m. So you have time before that date to edit your application and think about whether you want to opt into any of the special communities that are available. Any medical needs for housing should be documented with the Student Disability Access Center, or SDAC, by June 1. You can find information for that on the SDAC website. I usually just Google SBAC UVA and it takes me right there. We encourage students to elect to be assigned a roommate and not request a specific roommate. We're a great way to meet someone new in your class. If you do want to request a specific roommate, the roommate preferences phase of the application will be available from June 9th until noon and until noon on June 12th. Check your UVA email in early June for an email that will detail this phase of the process. Room assignments are scheduled to be posted on June 30th. All right, so housing is not guaranteed for incoming transfers or upper class students, but we encourage students to apply. The deadline for incoming transfer students to apply is also June 1st at 11:59 p.m. June 1st, May 1st, it doesn't matter as long as the application is completed by June 1 at 11:59. There is no advantage to filling out the application earlier as long as it's completed by June 1. On the housing application for upper class students and our incoming transfer students, you'll rank your preferred residence areas, which also may include apartment style, hall style, residential colleges, and language houses. After the June 1 application deadline, a random computer generated process determines the order in which applicants receive offers. So it's not first come, first serve, like I said. If all spaces are assigned, we will maintain a wait list and continue to make offers as we receive cancellations throughout the summer.
Countess mentioned roommates. For many students, this may be the first time you are sharing a room with someone. Learning to live with a roommate is an important part of your first year at UVA. We believe the key to a successful living situation is open and honest communication, not just when you first meet, but also from day to day as you learn to resolve the inevitable differences that will surface when two or more people live together. You don't have to be friends for life, but showing consideration and fairness goes a long way and is crucial to building mutual respect. All residents will complete a roommate agreement through the housing portal during their first month after moving in. Roommate agreements are a crucial part of building a strong residential community. They supply students with an opportunity to clearly communicate their needs and expectations and can help prevent major conflicts from emerging later on in the semester. When conflicts do arise, RAs can serve as mediators and help students to find solutions. Our students and professional team work really closely with orientation and transition programs and welcoming new students to UVA. In August, each RA will reach out to their community to welcome new residents, introduce themselves, and help them through initial move-in and the first few weeks of the semester. The residential experience begins in earnest as we approach August move-in. As students arrive on grounds, RAs will be at the welcome tents in front of each building and around the floors and in the suites to meet residents and answer questions. RAs will hold floor meetings shortly after their community moves in. After moving in, Wahoo Welcome is a university-wide program during the first weeks of the semester that help prepare students for life at UVA and help them to acclimate to grounds.
Okay, let's talk about move-in. First year move-in days are scheduled to be Thursday, August 20th and Friday, August 21st. Each building is assigned one of these 2 days. So you will find out your move-in day along with your housing assignment on June 30th. To help manage traffic flow on move-in days, each student will be assigned a 2-hour or shorter, but you will be assigned a specific appointment time for your arrival on your move-in day. Students attending orientation session K will be approved for an early arrival and move-in on Tuesday the 18th. Transfer students attending orientation session K will also those transfer students who are assigned housing will also be approved for an early arrival and move in on Tuesday, August 18th. All other transfer students are scheduled will move in on Saturday, August 22nd. To help manage traffic flow on Saturday, each student will be assigned a specific appointment time for their arrival as well. On August 20th and 21st, greeters may be available to help students transport items to their rooms. Look for volunteers wearing a greeter's t-shirt. All student belongings should be labeled with your name and room assignment so that greeters can better help you unload and route the belongings. Your move-in assignment time is just the time period that covers your arrival. It's just the initial unloading and transfer of your belongings to your room. After moving belongings to the room during the appointment, you may take more time to get settled in, and you can always come back and forth to the space after you move in. Our website will be updated during the summer with all the information you need to know about move-in. There will also be a move-in video posted before orientation begins that will talk more about what to expect on move-in day, decorating your room, reporting maintenance issues, mail, dining, laundry, etc. Once you receive your housing assignment, you can check out our website for more information about the residence area where you are assigned. What's the best building? The one you're assigned to. This also will include maps, sample floor plans, photos, furniture dimensions, and a list of what's nearby. In the meantime, our website has a what to bring frequently asked question or FAQ that can help you plan on what to pack and let you know what prohibited items you should not bring to the university.
After you've moved in, you may start thinking ahead to going home and telling family and friends all about your UVA experience in person. Here are some of the important dates you should know about. This year, Family Weekend will be held during the fourth weekend in October, with events for students and families taking place throughout the weekend. All residence halls remain open for fall reading days, also known as fall break, October 3rd through 6th, Thanksgiving recess, November 25th through 29th, and spring break, March 6th through 14th. During winter break, first-year residence halls close at noon on Saturday, December 19th, and only the residential colleges and other upper-class housing areas are open. Students who are enrolled in J-term classes are able to return to the residence halls in early January. At the end of spring semester, students must move out by noon on Saturday, May 15th, 2027. Early in the fall semester, we begin advertising and recruiting students to participate within the dorm communities through association councils and as representatives to first-year council. Elections for these roles are held in September, providing students with early leadership opportunities. As classes start and Wahoo Welcome events have concluded, RAs are encouraged to form individual relationships with each of their residents and work to build a strong community. They offer an array of events and activities, some occurring within their dorms and some elsewhere on grounds. Recruitment for the Interfraternity Council and Intersorority Council organization begin at the start of the spring semester. This is a focus for many first-year students as they return to grounds after winter break. Spring semester efforts by the resident staff remain focused on relationship and community building. After students move out in May, they will often remain in contact with each other, and many will choose to live with their roommates, suite mates, or floor mates in the years ahead. We understand that there is pressure that begins in September for first-year students to determine where they will live during their second year. We like to say, you have time and you have options. We want you to take your time and explore your options. We encourage students to take the time to make friends before deciding about their second year housing. We communicate frequently with students about how the application process works for on-grounds housing, and we provide them with resources as they navigate decisions about who to live with and where to live. Note that university housing is not guaranteed for second, third, and fourth year students. For students who apply or want to live on grounds, they can receive a housing assignment. Our second year experience builds on the first year experience with program offerings that support academic development and connection to the university. If there are any families watching, we have a little bit of advice. And what we would start with is to encourage your students to make the most of their experience on grounds. We recommend that students talk with their fellow students face to face and really work to build connection and create and find genuine friendships. We also think students should think about how they want to communicate. And so with your supporters, with your families, to think about your communication plan and how often you want to check in with each other and what your expectations are for each other for how often you will communicate. For example, when I was in college, I only spoke to my parents once a week on Sunday afternoons, but that was a very different time. You might text or call often each day, but it's good to know the expectation and to have that agreement with you so everybody's on the same page and not expecting one thing and finding something different. We find that students will inevitably text and call their families and trusted supporters when things don't go quite the way they expect or when things might be upsetting or stressful. This could be a roommate, it could be class, it could be the dining hall. Sometimes students will just need to vent. Other times they're looking to explore options or to think about what solutions could be helpful. Families, allow your students space to express if they actually need your help, if they'd like to resolve it themselves, and to explore with you how you can best to help them. We also talk about brainstorming solutions. When you come to college, you will experience new things. And so when you're talking, talk about what options you have, brainstorm solutions by asking questions that help people think about how they can solve the problem themselves. We really focus a lot on student self-governance and helping students to be able to make their own good decisions at UVA. On the halls, the RA is also an essential resource as well. They can help support with anything that a student is managing during their time at UVA. There are lots of options for students. Students don't have to join a ton of organizations. It will feel like everybody's involved in a lot of things, but often the students that have the deepest experience get involved in one or two things that are very meaningful to them, that they really add value to their time at UVA. We wanted to share some tips and advice for you from former students about what they feel it's important for you to know before arriving on grounds.
So when I came into VA, I was a little nervous, as I hope most students are. I think being nervous is a good thing. It's a very daunting and new experience.
I would have wanted someone to tell me that it's just not intimidating. Like, I feel like it seems so overwhelming because it is so different from high school. It is a little bit of a transition, so if it is rough the first couple of weeks, just know you're okay. Like, everyone's in the same boat as you.
I was definitely kind of nervous about not living with my parents, not living with my dog, things like that. The process is not as scary and stressful as you might think it is.
It's going to be different from what they're used to at home, but in the best way possible. It's going to push them out of their comfort zone and ultimately make them a better person.
If you're scared, that's okay. That's totally fine. It's supposed to be scary, but guess what? You're learning a lot from it.
I think if you're a newly admitted student and you're kind of worried about coming to grounds, I think you should just spend your first 2 weeks just talking to new people every day.
Just talk to everyone you meet, especially in the first couple of months. It is the time to be social and the time you're gonna meet like people who you will know for the rest of your life.
So the most important thing I wish I knew coming in is that everyone is new. You're not having an isolated experience. You might think you are having an isolated experience, but you will very soon realize that everyone is going through the same exact thing.
I think I was worried that it would just take longer to connect with people on the level that I had with my high school friends. I was nervous about that, as I feel like a lot of people are. I'm just getting here and I know no one. How am I going to have people that I'm as comfortable around?
I'm telling you, they're not judging you. Nobody's judging anyone.
It doesn't matter how social you are, because you are going to make friends.
Yeah, even if you are an introverted or a shy person, you can change that here at UVA.
You do really want to be as extroverted as you can in the first couple of weeks.
Have an open door. Let people come in. Be encouraging to meeting new people. Go outside. Go talk to the person sitting next to you in the dorm or the cafeteria or in class.
Don't be shy. Even if you're shy, go to the first events. Go to the first dinners and lunches together with the people. You'll get to know them.
I don't know if it's because you're spending all day with them or just the nature of it, but it happens just like that.
And you spend more time meeting people because you guys are all in the same boat.
Really quickly, I felt like I had found my people and people that I was comfortable with and just really enjoyed spending time with.
Everybody's eager to make friends, so they can actually have somebody to go to when they want to go out, when they want to do homework together, when they want to go eat.
Just be nice to the person that's living next door to you. Go over, introduce yourself, and they can become such a great friend. I recommend building a schedule because this is the first time where you are away from home. You have such huge gaps in between your schedules sometimes.
You can have a bunch of credits, but you are going to have a lot of hours free regardless of what you do. No matter what major. I'm taking math and I'm a pre-med student. I have hours where I'm free regardless.
There's times where your schedule doesn't work with how you want it to work, and that's just how life is.
You have a 4-hour block at least once a week.
You realize that, okay, I have a 4-hour gap right now. What should I do?
Just go to the library for that 1 hour.
I think building a consistent schedule is such a great thing to have at first. The food is better than you think. UVA has an Instagram for the food they're having in the day, and you can just look at their Instagram, their story, or whatever. We're fortunate enough to get meal exchanges, and we have plenty of spaces where you can get food for free. You don't always have to spend money to get great food.
As a first year, you can't have a car here, so you have to walk a lot of places.
You should prepare for a lot of walking. Make sure you have nice walking shoes.
I'm very familiar with grounds now, and I definitely wouldn't have been if I had a vehicle.
I don't think it's a bad thing to have all the walking, but it's something that you have to take into account, especially time-wise, because you don't want to be late to class.
Learn how to use the bus system, I'd say. It's so helpful.
The bus system here is really efficient. It comes all the time, like every 5 minutes or so. So if you need to get somewhere, especially to like Harris Teeter and Barracks and stuff, the Gold Line takes you straight there.
There's a lot of buses and a very great bus system, which is going to be helpful for your classes. It's going to take you a while to learn the buses route.
There's an app that tracks the buses, tells you where to go.
It's called Translock, and knowing that, it will make your life tremendously easier.
A little hidden, non-UVA sponsored one is Spot ETA, which is the downtown Charlottesville line. It takes you right downtown.
But I also recommend go for the walk sometimes. It's beautiful. Our school is gorgeous.
I personally prefer to walk. It's so pretty here on grounds. How can I not?
So enjoy it while you're here.
Another thing that helped me professionally as well is going on Handshake. UVA has a great platform for all academic events.
I think a lot of students are really worried about getting on that internship as soon as they get here.
As a first year, I had nothing on my resume, but once I started attending all like the Handshake events with a lot of free food too, definitely nice.
The whole point of first year is to get acclimated to everything and to enjoy your time here. Then you can worry more about the internships and the career.
You don't always want to be doing work, you don't always want to be going out. It is good to go to the gym. Having that balance really alleviates the stress.
I think I tell them just to get involved however you can. Like, there are so many different opportunities to take advantage of.
Actually get involved in things around grounds.
There's so many different things that you can join in, so many opportunities.
People to meet and clubs to join. Like, there's always something going on, which is a ton of fun.
It's easier to take on too much in the beginning and offload it than to pick up later on. If you're ever going to join 5 clubs at once, have it be your first month.
You want to make sure you're going to as many events as you can, meeting as many new people and friends.
Go to everything that you can and be like, this could be a terrible experience, like what even is this thing tonight? But then if you just go, a lot of times you'll end up meeting people or at least getting some funny stories out of it.
Fail fast, like figure out that that's not the thing for you right away. Don't wait until your 3rd year to figure out that it's the thing for you.
Because I'm a part of different CIOs, I have more purpose and I have more motivation to do things outside of just my schoolwork and my friends.
Might as well know that you love to dance. Might as well know that you love to do kickboxing. you really like chess. I don't know. There's a club for everything.
Yeah, I would say to just not stress out about the process, to embrace everything. It might sting a little bit sometimes. You might miss your family.
Things are going to change a lot in their first year of college, but things are going to change for good reasons. They are going to blossom into a new person, and this is what college is about.
I think there's a lot of personal growth that comes with, having to take care of yourself. I think that's been beneficial for just every first year. For me, my roommate, everyone that I know.
Sometimes I'll just reflect on like my day-to-day life and be like, wow, everything I do is just so different from high school. I think in a good way.
You develop into a person that I think you look back on, and I think I'm kind of proud of how it developed over the year.
Finding yourself, finding your people, and everything, you'll find your way. Don't worry about it. It's gonna be awesome.
It is stressful to be a college student. That is not a myth. Everything is going to be okay at some point because everything will fall into place. I promise you that.
No need to be anxious and think that it's not your place. Just give it time and be open to all of the opportunities.
Your professors are here to help you. Your friends are here to help you. Your RAs are here to help you. UVA staff is here to help you. No one is here against you. They're here for you.
Everything is going to be okay. You are going to make friends. You are going to go to your classes. You're going to do just fine. It's going to be okay.
Before we go to the question and answers that you all have, we're going to start with some question and answers that we have prepared. And so I'm going to ask Countess the question and she'll respond. Countess, is it possible to indicate a preference for a specific residence area? How about first-year suite versus hall style?
So housing for first-year students, again, like I said, is required, it's guaranteed, and most importantly, it is randomly assigned. We don't accept preferences for specific buildings or residence areas or for hall style or suite style housing. Transfer students may specify preferred housing areas on the housing application, but spaces are limited and not all areas are available. If we can assign you as the transfer student, if we can assign you to one of your preferences, we will. But if none of your preferences are available, we will offer you a space in an area that you perhaps have not preference, but we want you to have an opportunity to live on grounds. So random for first years, transfer students have an opportunity to preference, but options may not be available.
Do prices vary between the different housing types or areas?
So for first-year students pay the same rate regardless of where they live or whether they are assigned to a single or double room. Upper class room rates do vary and can be found on our website. I usually just put in UVA housing rates, and one of the page options pops up, and you can see what the rates are. They're on there for the academic year, just about in half for how we bill by the semester.
Do hall style and suite style buildings have kitchens with a stove, oven, etc.? What are the rules for personal fridges and microwaves?
So all students in hall style and suite style buildings have access to a shared kitchen in their building or residence area. Residents can have one mini fridge, microwave per room, and students can rent one for the school year from the UVA bookstore.
I'm from far away. Can I ship my items ahead for move-in?
I would check on the move-in website for information regarding mail. Typically, items can start to be shipped by August 1, but again, check the mailroom page on the housing website, and it will tell you more about how to do that. Because our on-grounds mailrooms have very limited storage space, so please plan to have packages arrive as close to move-in as possible.
Is all UVA housing air conditioned?
I am happy to report that all UVA housing is air conditioned. Such was not the case back in the 80s, but we are now all air conditioned.
Nor when I was in school. Do many
Times
first
change.
times have changed for the better?
Yeah.
Do many first-year students opt to have a roommate assigned? Is there a questionnaire that helps guide roommate selection?
So typically, 30 to 40% of first year students opt to have a roommate assigned randomly instead of specifying a preferred roommate. If you do want to specify a preferred roommate, there are profile questions on the housing application that students that can help students with the process of searching for a roommate. Those questions are for students to use and are not used by Housing and Residence Life in the roommate assignment process. Students who do not specify a preferred roommate will have a roommate assigned to them. And even those who know people and want to specify those people, all roommate preferences must be made in the housing portal between the June 9th to 12th phase. But again, you can search for a roommate using the roommate profile questions that you will see during the roommate preference time period. But again, those answers are not used to match people. I could ask you 100 questions and that would not necessarily get you to your perfect roommate. In the end of the day, you just need to, as we talked about earlier, just talk to people, get your preferences known, and really communicate one-on-one with your roommate, and bring your RA in if you need to help with that communication.
Are there singles available for first-year students? Are there triple rooms?
So almost all of our first year rooms are double rooms. All first year singles are typically reserved for students with a documented medical accommodation as approved by UVA Student Disability Access Center, SDAC. The last time we needed to assign triples due to a larger than expected enrollment was 2018. Triples really, they are no more.
What is the process if you just can't get along with the new roommate?
Well, let's start with at the beginning of the year, students complete a roommate agreement to facilitate discussion. If problems occur, roommates should talk with each other first to try and resolve the issue. If they can't, they should consult with the RA for assistance in mediation. If problems persist, students will be referred to a residence life professional staff member to assist them with the concern. And then the RLC, the residence life professional staff member, will assist that student and help find a solution to that problem.
Where are the dining halls located?
Well, there are dining halls located near all the first year housing areas. There's a dining hall in Newcomb Hall, which is the student center. There's also one in Observatory Hill or O Hill, which is near the Alderman area, and then there's Runk Dining Hall, which is near the Gooch Dillard area.
What are rules for guests and parents visiting dorms?
Excellent question. Students must have consent from their roommates and suite mates to invite any guests into their room or shared living space. That is just respectful. Guests must be with their hosts at all times. No leaving your guests in your room while you go to class. Your guests must be with you at all times. No overnight guests may remain longer than 3 consecutive nights.
Are students in first-year buildings required to move all of their items over winter break?
No, actually, our residence halls, if you are a student who is returning for the spring, students students can leave their items, although students are not allowed in the all first year areas during winter break, but they're welcome to leave their belongings. Residential colleges and the upper class housing areas do remain open during the winter break.
Okay, now we'll start to take the questions from the question and answer. Candace, if a student applied to residential colleges, but then decided against that, but have already submitted those applications and changed their preference to random, is that okay?
So students should make the final decision for themselves no later than June 1 at 11:59 p.m. Because at that time, the applications are being sent to the residential colleges. And once assigned to a residential college, you cannot change out of that area. There are designated first year rooms in each of the residential colleges, and we need all of those spaces to accommodate our first year class. So once assigned to a residential college, you cannot move out of that area. So really think about it, investigate, look at the website so that you can make the best decision for yourself by June 1.
Do laundry facilities cost money?
Yes, yes, they do. It's been a minute since I know, but each there's a cost for the wash and a cost for the dry. And so that money, those, and you put the money on an account on your student ID, and that's how you will start the washers and dryers. So you can check that out when you get in to find out how much each one is.
I know that answer. Actually, it's $1.75 per load. So it is a very reasonable cost, and most students use the Speed Queen app. So you can check to see if the machine is available before you even lug all of your laundry over to the laundry room. A couple of transfer students have asked how roommate and apartment placement works. They are wondering how that process will work for them and what happens if they don't see certain options to preference on the application.
So if there are areas that are not listed, that means that there are not spaces in those areas available. And so we did not include it as one of the options. If there's not necessarily roommate matching. If you have somebody who you know who is coming also as a transfer student, then you can there's a space on the application called special request. And so you can put any details that you want the assignment staff to know or to consider. Again, we can't guarantee anything, but we do try to meet any special requests that students have for which we have space available and can make that happen. And that includes requesting roommates, but that person also must request you as well. But if they're roommates, if you're assigned to a double room, you will most likely be assigned to somebody randomly.
For students that apply to a residential college, when will they know they are accepted? Specifically, will they know before the roommate selection period?
Yes, so the announcements to students in the residential colleges will be sent prior to the roommate process because that if you're in a residential college, you can only see other students in that residential college during the roommate preferencing period. And so that's why the roommate preferencing piece happens a little bit more than a week after the June 1 deadline so that the students who are reviewing the residential college applications have a chance to review the applications and decide who they are going to kind of invite into their residential college. And then you can only see the same thing for scholars housing. If you are Rodman or Eccles or other scholar and you opt into scholar housing, you will only be able to see other students who have opted into scholar housing. And so if you're a scholar and you have a non-scholar roommate, although every student at UVA is a scholar, but for scholars housing, it's only other students who have opted into their scholars housing who can see each other during the roommate time period.
There's another question about the roommate request period. Students will not be able to do the roommate request until June 9th through 12th. They are unable to access it before that time. They just only see that their room assignment is pending once they have submitted their application.
That is correct. You can only see the roommate preferencing period during the 9th to 12th date. And that is when things will formally begin for that time period.
A couple of people are asking about priority for second year housing.
So for second year housing, again, second year housing is not guaranteed, but there is scheduled to open 700 plus beds right there on Ivy Road. And so I suspect there will be more housing for upper class students in general. But there is no particular priority for students in upper class. And the room selection process has a tendency to change from year to year. So I would say in September, late September, early October, there's usually a session on kind of making good housing choices. And that is just housing choices in general. And we'll talk about the upper class housing options, and we'll talk about the process. And once the process has been formalized, it will be on our housing website, and information about when the process begins, what the process is about, if there are any priorities, and all of those things will be formalized on our website once that process is decided. Again, it has a tendency to change from year to year, but note again, 700 more beds opening in fall of 2027.
If a student has applied, but they haven't received information to apply for housing yet, how do they get access to the housing portal?
So the students um, who have been recently accepted, usually students will pay their deposit. That deposit has to be processed. And typically it takes 3 to 4 business days for that deposit to be processed. And then we receive imports every day. And once we receive that import, we import students into the housing portal, and then you receive a welcome email from our office. Sometimes that takes a little more time, but I would say be patient. But if you don't receive that, if you have deposited and you haven't received that welcome email in 3 to 4 business days, then email us at housing@virginia.edu. I know that we have had a few students, particularly our transfer students. I think we have resolved that issue, and hopefully everyone who is deposited as of end of last week will be imported into the housing database and get that email by close of business on Friday, which for us, that is Friday the 22nd. Yes.
Okay, let's see. If I am offered on-campus housing or on-grounds housing and do not want to accept the offer, can I live off grounds?
So incoming first year students, I'm guessing this is a transfer student, but I just want to be clear. Incoming first year students are guaranteed and required to live on grounds their first year. Incoming transfer students are not guaranteed housing, but if you get an offer and it's not an offer that you wish to accept, you may decline that offer. We ask that you email us and let us know that you will not be accepting the offer. That way we can offer that space to another student who might be waiting for housing. But once you accept the offer, so if you receive an offer and you accept the housing agreement, you have 48 hours after that time to decline. And then after that, there is no declining the offer. So you have 48 hours after you've accepted it to then decline the offer. After that 48 hours, I say you're in it to win it. And you will be living on grounds in that offer that you received.
We have another question about parking for transfer students.
So I would say all parking questions need to be directed to the Parking and Transportation Office. I will remind incoming first years that they may not have a car, but some of our upper class areas have more nearby parking than others. So Copley, Faulkner, Lambeth, those areas have parking lots out in front of them. How Parking and Transportation divvy up those spaces, I am not sure. So you should again see the Parking and Transportation website. And some of the other upper class residential areas have, for all intents and purposes, no student parking around them. And so if you're going to bring a car, you want to make sure that you check again with the Parking and Transportation Office in regards to how much parking costs, where that parking is, and how you would obtain a parking permit to park on grounds.
Can a student apply for a scholars program and scholars housing?
So my understanding is that Echo Scholars and Rodman Scholars and a few other scholarships, scholar students have already been selected. I think when you were admitted, you could have applied, but all those scholars for first years have been decided. And so there, to my knowledge, there are not more about that, but I think you could probably look up again on the UVA website about Echo Scholars and Rodman Scholars to find out about those programs.
Let's see. So I'm still finding a roommate, but once I do, what happens next?
If you're an incoming first year student, that has to be a mutual decision, and it has to uh, happen during the June 9th to 12th roommate preferencing phase. If you find somebody outside of that, you will be great friends, but the roommate preferencing period will be over. And so what you'll have is a great person who you can relate to and meet their friends, and they can meet your friends. But if mutually, if roommates one have to be mutual, and they have to happen in the housing portal, and that is between June 9th and June 12th.
All right, well, those are all of the questions.
All right. So thank you so much to Shylin and Countess and the Housing and Residence Life team for all this information. Again, just a reminder that this will be recorded and posted on our Wednesday webinars page, so you'll get more information on where to find that once it is posted. I recommend following their social media pages as well, especially if you know you're going to be living on grounds. I know that many of our transfers were in the chat asking a lot of questions also about the off-grounds housing process. I encourage you to look at some of the local Charlottesville social media sites for off-grounds housing. If you have any questions or need some support with finding some of those pages, please don't hesitate to reach out to the orientation office. Again, our email is orientation@virginia.edu. If you don't know where else to go, we will make sure you get connected to the right folks for the questions that you have. That's all we got for you today, and we hope you join us for the next topics. Be sure to keep an eye out on your email for those topics and reminders of when they are. Thanks all.